Okay, here we are. I've had this bike for, what, 2 years now, maybe more, and I am just now getting around to doing a little ride-on review, I guess. So this is a 1984 BMW R80. It started life as an RT, and now it's hasn't got any of the RT bits left, which were fairing and some other bits and pieces. I tend to go through bikes at a bit of a clip, as my wife would tell you, but this one has been a bit of a mainstay for a while now, and every time I sort of think about moving on from it, take it out for a ride and fall in love with it again, and it lives on. And I've done a decent amount to this bike myself. The gentleman who owned it prior to me was the one who did a lot of the restoration on it. He did a really good job, and I've sort of been able to concentrate on sort of aesthetically making it what I want and fixing some little bits here and there, and sort of turned it into the bike it is. It's you know, for a almost 40-year-old bike, it runs really great. I should also preface by saying that anything I say about handling in this review, you can sort of take it with a bit of a grain of salt, because all of these old BMWs have had work done to them, and I would probably hazard a guess to say that no two old BMWs handle the same. That's true for any old bike, I guess. This particular bike has some upgraded rear shocks. I think it's got slightly firmer coils in the front. And so it, handles great. And it stops quite well as well. You know, it's got double discs up front, and they do the job. I have some other older bikes that are still on drums, and the difference is just, night and day. I have an old Honda, and you sort of apply the brakes and hope that it will pull up. It's a very gentle stop. Anyway, so there's been quite a bit done to this bike. All the fairings are gone, as I said. The suspension's been upgraded, as I said. There's some other cosmetic bits and pieces. This whole front bit here is quite new. It's got a new triple clamp there, new low-rise bars. I've dropped the original clocks down a little bit to fix the clearance that was sort of assigned to them from the old fairing. They used to sit way up here, so we've dropped those down with a custom bracket. Some obviously new mirrors on the ends, and look, honestly, I didn't go nuts on this one. A lot of the BMWs you see out there will be, you know, sort of customized to look like every other BMW that's out there. You know, I wanted to keep this one with a bit of a original classic look to it. The comment I most often get from people is that they think it's a much older BMW. The dead giveaway is obviously the disc brakes up front. But like it looks a bit older than it is, just because of the period features we've added to it. And I really like it. It rides incredible. I'm gonna stop in a little bit further up on this ride and put some microphones on this new exhaust we've put on. And I say new again, I think I did it about a year ago. I'm just really bad with keeping up on posting any sort of videos about bikes. This bike came with stain tune cans and stain tune headers as well, and they're really good. Like stain tune, unfortunately I think they went out of business, which is a real shame, because they're a good Australian company, but they were not quiet. I would say they were probably a bit louder than the stock exhaust system, but it wasn't much. My opinion on the stain tune exhaust for these bikes is that they're a good replacement for OEM, and a higher quality replacement for OEM. But I sort of wanted this to have a bit more of that, you know, grunty classic flavor So it so I decided to improve the exhaust by making the exhaust worse. I'll show you what I did, but essentially I removed the crossovers on the headers, so there was two sort of crossover pipes that would go between the two headers that would really smooth out the exhaust note and gave you a little bit of extra mid-range torque, I think. And I did know that going into this, that removing those crossovers could cost me a little bit of mid-range torque, but in all honesty, this bike is not gonna set any land speed records anytime soon anyway. It's more of a cruiser for me, so sacrificing, you know, maybe 5% on the mid-range torque was an acceptable compromise for me to get the exhaust note that I wanted. Anyway, yeah, so we've got some Saddlebrook straight off headers, and then some Hoske, H-O-S-K-E cans, and they've got this old nice classic look. I had to order them from Europe. I think they came from Amsterdam. They weren't too expensive. I think they're about $600 or $700 for the pair, and that was shipped over, which is not bad. And they give it that much nicer sort of classic sound, and without the crossovers you get a lot more pops, which you'll also hear. I don't know if you can hear them in this recording, probably not, but a lot more pops and crackles from the exhaust. We're quite lucky here. We live in the Hills district of Sydney, and currently in Sydney the districts are locked down, so you can't really leave your own district. But our district is so big that I can go for a 100-kilometer ride and still be inside. So we're really lucky. The ride that I'm going on today is the same ride I've been doing every week for the past couple of months. But it's okay, because there's a lot of other people who are stuck in very small districts right now and sort of can't go anywhere. And we have this whole area to play with, so very lucky. When I was looking for a BMW, I had to do a bit of research on which one I wanted. I'm a smaller guy, I'm 5'8", I weigh about 65 kilo. Well, it's COVID, I weigh 68 kilo. And so I didn't want to go too big, but also I think an old 650 is probably, you know, a little bit down on power, if I'm honest. So the R65 and R60s I sort of ruled out. The R90s are a little bit harder to come by. The R100s, there's a lot of them around, but I'd sort of decided that was just maybe a bit big, a bit heavy for what I wanted. Like I said, I don't really care too much about going fast. This is just a nice weekend cruiser for me, although I have dailied this bike. I used to, before COVID, when I had an actual office, I would ride this bike to the office. And it was, yeah, it did fine. Got some panniers on here, and it commutes fine. Probably not the best use of it, but yeah, this is honestly where this bike is happy. Some nice B roads in the country on a Sunday morning, just weaving back and forth like an idiot. It's good fun. One thing I did notice when I got this bike is it's so shortly geared. If you're going from a modern bike, it's so short, the gears. Between 4th and 5th, there's like not a whole lot even. To the point where sometimes I'll shift from 4th to 5th, think I've missed the shift and go to shift again, and there's nothing there because I'm already in 5th. That's how minor the difference between those two gears is. But, you know, it'll do 110, 120 k's an hour, sort of comfortably around the 4,500 RPM range. And that's fine. Like, I'm not going to take this thing to a track. It would probably do 150, 160, but who cares? But you do get your shifting practice in, that's for sure. And it is quite nice to shift through the gears on this bike. It's got a really nice gearbox. The linkage is quite responsive. Here's a nice BMW right here. Hello, friend. So it is a nice one to shift through. We upgraded the clutch cables here. They're Teflon coated, so so it's got quite a nice pull on the clutch as well. And yeah, it's just an all-round really enjoyable bike to ride. We are in Dural, somewhere in Dural, in the northwest of Sydney. Technically, I think we're still in Sydney proper. And yeah, another BMW. It's like the GS day. Everyone's adventuring B roads. Bloody hell, it's cold this morning. I know complaining about cold weather in Australia is a complaint that will fall on deaf ears for a lot of you. I think it's maybe 15 degrees right now, and I am not dressed for that. One of the first things I had to get used to on this bike, because there's a shaft drive, and when you pair the shaft drive with the parallel twin boxer engine, it's when you stomp on it, it tends to torque steer, which is it's not bad. On the 800cc it's not bad. I assume it's probably a bit more pronounced on the thousands, but it's an unusual experience on a bike. Just to feel the bike sort of pull from underneath you a little bit. At first I found it quite unsettling, but then you get used to it really quick, and now I actually really enjoy it. Just you sort of feel like you're doing something as opposed to just going faster. It's one of the nice things about an older bike, isn't it? You know, it's without any of the electronic aids and all of the things that make you feel safe going on, you know, really high speeds. You feel this connection to the bike, and it's a really well planted bike. It's very confidence inspiring. We'll hit some vlog keywords. Confidence inspiring. Here we go. Cat-Eye Ridge Road. If you're in the area and you haven't done this ride, you should give it a go. Okay, we've stopped here on the side of Ann Road. I'm gonna just give you a little walk around of the bike, and then we'll start it up and see if we can't get a nice exhaust note recording. So yeah, again, 1984. Some bits are stock, some is not, and it's yeah. Been a really lovely bike. There's the Hoske exhausts. One of the nice things is it's on historic rego, so it's cheap. My headers are, yeah, multicolored now. I probably should have done something about that before I really started getting them hot, but oh well. These are just you know, they're a great bike, and if you're thinking about getting one, I highly encourage that. Okay, enough me yammering. Let's get some exhaust. So, let's see. Got a couple of mics on the bike. One there. One there. Let's see how we go.